What's up? It's Scott the Frozen Gamer, and I have been experimenting at my game table recently because I have today, boom! Explosion in the Laboratory by Weird Giraffe Games and Corey and Alora. This is the little sister to Fire in the Library. If you want to know more about that game, I made a video of how to play and review that one. But now let's get to the table to see how Explosion in the Laboratory differs from its big sibling up there. So let's go. So this is a setup for a 3-player game of Explosion in the Laboratory. And what we're going to do here first is set up all 6 of these flask cards right here. And I always put them with the half side up. On the other side, there's going to be green and orange and purples. On the other side, you want the yellow and blue sides up and the one red card showing to us. Then we got these beaker cards up here. And you're going to set them up so the smallest little index number here is facing us. Or an easy way to just remember is that the beaker, the part that you pour from, is facing us to start the game. So then you take this process deck and you shuffle it up and deal 1 card to each player. When you get dealt a card, you look at the card and you decide the yellow side or the blue side. They each have different powers on them. And you pick the one you like better, and also you can see in the top left is what phase of the game you can use those powers in. So this one's before anyone even plays that round. And this one's a different phase in the game. Then you take it and you secretly just put it down in front of you or hold it in your hand. But whatever side you pick, that is the power that you can use. You can never change it. If I pick blue, I have to stick with blue for the whole game for this card. The start player in the game is the player that last mixed something and it had a poor result in the end. So they're going to start out the game and you're going to give them the reference card, and it's going to say first because they're going to be the first player. As it passes to the second player, boom, you switch it second. That's just in case you can't remember the order as we're going along in the game. And you're going to give them the 6 lab cards, which they're going to shuffle up, and then we can start the game. Before the first player of the round starts their turn, we're going to start with phase 1 of the game, which is the turn planning game. And that is simply, if you have a power card with this symbol on it, you can play your power before the first player starts their actual turn. That's the turn planning phase. Once that's done, we move on to phase 2. Phase 2 is the mixing compound phase. That's the symbol with the little vial being poured into the beaker of the blue liquid. The first thing we're going to do is check the fire level. And you check that by looking at the bottom of each of these beakers. And you're looking for this red symbol right there, the exclamation mark and the red triangle. You count up how many there are. In this case, there's 1. Later in the game, there could be a lot more. We could have 4, and if we were like this, we would have 5, 2, 2, and 1. So we just count those up at the beginning of the game. It's going to be 1. So whoever's player's turn it is, they're going to mix, as they've already shuffled the cards, they're going to lay them out in front of them the way they were shuffled. And this looks super complex, but it's actually going to be really easy. Let's actually say it was something like this is how it came out once you laid them all down. What you do is you look at the leftmost number and the rightmost number. In this case, we got a 20 and an X. This card here with the X on it just means that you're going to look at the next card in. So we got a 24. You add 20 plus 4, 24. Now we saw that our fire number was 1. We only have 1 symbol there, so we look at the 1 card here. And then we look at number 24, which is the bottom right here. And we have got a blue chemical. So what we do is we take one of these blue cards, and that's going to be, we've gotten a half a blue mixture made. Now we can either stop or we can keep going. I'm going to put the card that we just made over there. We're going to keep going because there's no reason to stop. Next we lay over the cards again after we shuffled them. And here we got a 10 plus a 4. That's 14. So we look at card number 1 because we're still at only 1 fire. Nothing's changed up there. We got a red. Red is not good. Red means that there is a chance that we are going to have an explosion in the laboratory soon. If you get 2 reds, you have an explosion. Right now we only have 1. So what we can do here is do blue and red. Blue and red, as we see on this card, blue plus red equals purple. So we're going to take that, we're going to flip it over, and we have created a purple concoction. The other thing we could do is take blue, keep that half empty, and take red and keep that half empty and then go again. Now, even if we did this where we made a purple concoction, it still has this red fire symbol on it. So with that, it's signifying we did have one red already, so we won't forget that we did have a red. And still, even though we don't have a red out right now, a second red little flask here will cause us to explode. So we don't want any more red if we keep going. So we're going to keep going. So let's say we still are going and we got this yellow 5. So what we can do is either make this blue into a green, because blue and yellow equals green, or we can add a yellow. Let's say we want to do that. Now we have 3 cards in front of us that we have collected so far of liquids that we've collected. We can't get any more cards. If I get a blue or yellow, I cannot put a 4th card out. You max at 3 cards. This blue and yellow the mixtures have not been completed yet though. So let's say we keep going and we still have 1 red. So if we get another red, we explode. But let's say we get another yellow and we could either make this blue into a green or we could make this yellow full. So let's say we made the blue into a green. Then let's say we got another yellow and we decide, well, the only thing left we could do is make that full. Now we have to stop because we got 3 full bottles. That's a must stop. The other way to stop is if we got 2 reds and there's an explosion, that automatically stops. And black. Black is bad. That's an immediate explosion unless you get a black on your very first turn. If you get black on your very first turn before we did any of these cards, we would get to choose between starting with a yellow or a blue half fold. We cannot start with an explosion on the very first turn of the game because that would not be fun for anyone. So, but after I already have started putting out cards here, I put out a blue card here, and then I get a black, I have exploded. The other way you can stop is just by declaring it. Let's say I had these cards out here, I already have 1 fire, I'm getting nervous that I might get another fire, another red chemical, which would make this whole thing explode. I could just say, hey, I'm stopping here. I'm not going to go and push my luck any further. So let's say I did successfully complete these 3 beakers full of chemicals. And then I had to stop because they are full. Now it's phase 3 of the game, which is beaker scoring, which is this symbol right here. What we're going to do is first add up our intuition score, which is simply the yellow star on each beaker that I filled. So 2 plus 4 plus 2 equals 8 points. But then I also get research. So for each one of these, if I made an orange, a purple, or a green, I'm going to score what's on the bottom of there. So I had 8 points plus 3 for completing a purple and 1 point for completing a green. So that is 8 plus 4 is 12 points that I got this turn. Then we're going to do one last thing in this phase. Any green, purple, or orange that I scored this turn, I have to move the card by following the arrow here. So this one says to move it here. And this one says to move it here. So they got a little bit more points. Eventually they're going to get more fire symbols on them as I keep turning them. And then eventually, once I get here, let's say it was here and I just scored purple, I have to flip this card now because it says flip. So we flip it over and we start at the bottom there. And more points, but more fire. So the last thing that happens during the beaker scoring phase is if you completed a double yellow, a full yellow beaker, or a double blue, which would be a full blue beaker, you get to get a process card. So here I got a double yellow, so I take the top card from the deck, and I look here, and I have to put the yellow side in my hand. I do not get to put the blue side because I have double yellow. So yellow side in my hand. And that can't change. If I like the blue power better partway through the game, I can't change it this way. This card will be yellow for the rest of the game for me. Let's say I got yellow and blue finished. I don't get 2 cards. I just get the 1 card, and because I have a yellow and blue finished, I get to pick which side I want this card to be, and it will stay that way for the rest of the game for this card. Phase 4 of the game is the unstable mixture phase of the game. And this is when you explode and bust in this round. When that happens, so let's say I was here. I had this far, I have a purple mixture, a yellow mixture, I push my luck again. I already have 1 fire out, so if I get another red, I bust, or if I get a black, I bust. Let's say I got a red number 10 or a black number 11. Either way is going to make me bust. My turn immediately ends, and I do not get any intuition points that I would have earned, or like for completing this purple, I would not get that research point either. I get 0 points for the turn. Then I take the top card from my deck, choose a yellow or blue side, either one, and I put it down in front of me or in my hand or whatever for the rest of the game, because I get that for a catch-up mechanism in a way for busting, exploding this turn. Then if you're ever supposed to draw a card because you earned it, one of these process cards, and there's none left in the deck because everyone's been holding on to them, then what you do is instead of getting a card, you get double the amount of the most processed cards that someone is holding in their hand. So if someone's holding 4 cards in their hand, you get 8 bonus points if there's none available to choose from. So an incentive not to hoard your process cards, actually use the powers on them. And when you do play a process card, it doesn't go in a discard pile. You shuffle it immediately back into the deck. A couple clarifications for terminology for the process cards is they sometimes mention mixtures. A mixture is any full beaker, so it can be yellow, blue, purple, green, or orange. As long as it's full, it's a mixture. This is not a mixture when it's half full. Now, if it says something about a compound, that's only purple, green, or orange bottles are compounds. Yellow and blues filled are not a compound. So once your turn's done, you're going to reset all of these cards back to the way they started, and it's the next player's turn. You're going to pass them the turn order card. If it's the second player, they're going to put the second player side up. If it's third player, you just flip it over. Third player here. This is just a little guide for all the different compounds you can make and how you explode and stuff like that. After the third player is gone in a 3-player game, as we have it set up, before we start the next round, we're going to look at whatever card has the lowest index number. So this is a 2. You look at the little number in the circle here. Right there, that's the index number. And this one has a 2. Currently, this one has a 15. And currently, this one has a 3. So we are going to, boom, turn the smallest one to the next spot on the card. For every round going forward, the turn order is going to be from the lowest score to the highest score. So no longer clockwise order necessarily. It's lowest score to the highest score. So let's say we're like this right now, and we have to turn the purple card because of either I scored it or it was the lowest number. In this case, it would have had to be because I scored it. Boom. We hit the 10 spot, the last spot we can go on purple. Game is immediately over. There's no fair ups, no nothing. The game ends. You might have a process card that allows you to score points here. As you can see, this should be a 10 showing right here on purple. It's covered up by the artwork, but like on green here, you can see that there is a 10 research point value here. You might have a process card that allows you to get that. Very seldomly happens, but that's there just in case. But other than that, the game immediately ends. No one gets any more turns. Game over. Check your final scores. Whoever has the most points wins. And if tied, you can agree to share the victory or give the victory to the player with the next highest score. There is a solo game, and it's very similar to the actual game. You're going to play AI bot robot character against you, and what they do is you do these cards and lay them out as you normally do and look at the 2 ends to see what number they got, and then you look at to see what chemicals they got, and you take the first 3 chemicals in a row from, so if they got chemical 7, you take chemical 7, 8, 9, look at the combination on this robot scoring card, and you get whatever that says. It's very easy to understand once you actually learn all these symbols, which doesn't take long. You'll learn them very quickly in the actual game. So, and in case you don't have them, there's iconography in the rules of what the symbols are. And that's it for Explosions in the Laboratory. So let's get back to me and see what my final thoughts are on the game. So welcome back, and let's hear my review about Boom! Explosion in the Laboratory by Weird Giraffe Games. I want to say Explosion in the Library, like fire in the library over there. But no, this is the laboratory. It wouldn't make any sense if the explosion was in the library. And that game, I always want to say fire in the lake. GMT. So anyways, yeah, this game is a fun push your luck game. Very little, very quick, very easy to learn. I love the way that the game starts out really simple, and then as after the first round or two, it starts to get harder and harder, and as you bust more, it just progresses the game, and it gets harder, but you get more points as it gets harder, which makes the game very exciting, and it makes the game just kind of has this end point where it ends immediately as soon as one of the colors explodes. And you never know when that's going to happen, exactly when it's going to happen. So turn order towards the end of the game really matters. Going first and having a least score at the end of the game, you might be winning the game and not have as good of a score, and someone could pass you at the end. So timing that all out is really, really important, because the game can end just like that before you even have your fair up turn in the game. So what else do I like about the game? This box here, I love this little box with this on the back of it. Just like Fire in the Library, it's a pull-out tuck box. The one thing I like a little bit better about that one is has a score on the back of it. This one just has this artwork on the back. I get it though, because they are trying to save costs here and keep it a small footprint instead of having to have little score figures in the game. The powers work great in the game. And I like the choice where you get a choice of one or the other. This one, you don't get the choice. You get to choose from a market, but you don't get the choice. This one, you always get a choice from the card that you draw. So there are some little downsides of the game here that I can go over, and that is here we can see at the end of the game, the 10 there, the explosion, green's exploded, game ends. Here on purple and orange, we can't tell because the artwork covers that up. And you can see on the orange, there is a little bit of a black 10 star there. Now, those stars you'll rarely ever get. You have to use a power to get them. There is a way you could get 10 points at the end of the game, even though the game immediately ends. But it looks like you can't even get them with orange and purple if those were the first ones to explode before green does. But from what I read on BGG, you can still get the 10 points if you had that special ability to do that at the end of the game. Another thing about the game is, this isn't even a negative, but don't let people get scared. That looks confusing. That looks complex. It's not complex at all. So don't let people get scared of that. The one thing that, and this isn't even a negative either, but this is a shuffling game. You're constantly shuffling because every turn you have to shuffle and mix these back up to lay them out and see what the outside and inside numbers are on the cards. So you're constantly doing that. This one, you just pull a cube from a bag, which makes that super simple, a little bit less fiddly than this. But again, it is what it is. Now, why would I buy Explosion in the Laboratory over Fire in the Library? There's two big reasons. One, if I want to just buy a cheap game that's going to save me some money, I'll go with Explosions in the Laboratory. I looked today, right before I filmed this. So as of today, this is $14 on Weird Giraffe's website, where that is not a expensive game by any means, but it's $29. So if you want to get a game for less than half the price, Explosion in the Laboratory is that. And again, this is current as of the time that I'm shooting this video. The other reason, this is the perfect size travel game and perfect complexity for a travel game. I can bring this on a plane. I can play it on the plane solo easily on my little tray in front of me. I can play this with my neighbor, my friend, or my family who's sitting next to me. Heck, the game is so easy that I could teach it to the stranger sitting next to me if I had the guts to do it. I don't. But you could do that because the game is so easy to teach. It's just easy. So, and takes up such a footprint. It's a perfect travel size. I will have this one in my collection here to play at home, and this is the one that I would travel with. So overall though, it's a really good, again, very easy to learn push your luck game, very easy to play push your luck game, super simple to teach, learn, quick to play, small footprint, Explosion in the Laboratory, Weird Giraffe Games. Thank you for the review copy. Peace. Stay cool.